Hey guys, welcome to Best Movie Recap. Today I am going to explain a 2008 American action drama film called The Dark Knight. Warning. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie starts with a gang of men with clown masks breaking into the bank, where the mob keeps a large portion of their money stashed. As the robbery goes on, the clowns begin to kill each other in order to get more money. Meanwhile, a mad bank manager gets out of his office and starts killing the robbers, but they manage to shoot him. In the end, only two survive. One of them said, "I'm betting the Joker told you to kill me," but the other said, "No, I will kill the bus driver." Suddenly a school bus crashes through the wall of the bank, killing the other clown. The bank manager tells the remaining clown that he doesn't know who he is dealing with. The clown kneels down and removes his mask to reveal that he himself is the Joker. He puts a grenade into the banker's mouth and boards the bus, leaving a cord attached to the pin. The bus pulls out with all of the bank's cash and the pin pops out. But it was just a gas grenade. The Joker joins a long line of school buses leaving the scene as the police arrive. Gotham is then seen at night with criminals afraid to commit crimes under the watchful sign of the bat signal projected onto the clouds. Meanwhile, in a parking garage, the Scarecrow, still at large after escaping Arkham Asylum, is negotiating with the Russian mob members, led by the Chechen, over the sale of some of his fear-inducing drugs. The sale is interrupted with some of Gotham's citizens dressing as Batman. The Scarecrow gasses one of the fake Batman with his mind-altering drugs and said they are not the real Batman because Batman would never use a gun. Suddenly the Batmobile crashes through a barricade, then fires rockets into a nearby office, sending the remaining mobsters running. The real Batman arrives on the scene and bends the rifle barrel on the fake Batman before knocking him out. The Chechen sends his Rottweilers to attack Batman, but Batman stops them after being badly bitten in the arm. The Scarecrow attempts to flee in a white van, but Batman leaps onto the roof of his van, smashing it to a halt. Then he leaves the fake Batman and the Scarecrow along with some of the mobsters tied up together for the police to arrest them. Gordon arrives at the bank the Joker stole earlier. Ramirez shows Gordon the Joker's picture from a security camera. Batman arrives to inspect the scene, noting that they have irradiated the drug money to make it easier to trace. On the other side, Harvey Dent arrives in court to join Rachel Dawes in prosecuting mobster Salvatore Maroni, the new leader of the Falcone crime family. One of Maroni's men takes the charge in court and attempts to shoot Dent. But the gun doesn't go off and Dent punches the man before he is hauled off to jail. Maroni is eventually set free. Later on that day Dent meets Gordon, and after a short exchange of words, they both express their distrust for the corrupt people that are working in each other's offices. Gordon gives Dent the names of the other banks where the mob hides their money and they both agree to work together. Meanwhile, Lucius Fox holds a board meeting at Wayne Enterprises, negotiating a joint venture with Lau. After the meeting, Bruce expresses his reservations with Lucius Fox about Lau's business operation, apparently illegal based on their profits. After agreeing to cancel the deal, Wayne asks Fox for a new suit. He explains that he needs to be lighter and faster in case he runs into any more guard dogs and that he wants to be able to turn his head. That night, while Harvey was taking dinner with Rachel, Bruce joined them. During the conversation, Harvey explains how he supports the work of Batman and appreciates his help. Then Bruce informs Harvey that he intends to throw a massive fundraiser for him. Meanwhile, all of the top mob members are having a private meeting in a restaurant kitchen. Because due to their inside sources in the police, they were aware that the banks where their money is stashed are going to be searched. Lau appears to them on a television monitor from his plane on his way back to Hong Kong. He informs them that all of their money has already been moved to a single secure location, just as Gordon and company are searching the banks, finding nothing but the irradiated trace money. The Joker suddenly enters the room and after killing a hostile mob member's crony by way of a magic trick, sits down and talks with the mob about how pathetic they've become since Batman came around. He tells them their one solution is to kill the Batman and offers to do it for half of their money. He warns them about Lau, saying he knows a squealer when he sees one, prompting Lau to turn off his monitor. The mob laughs. One of the mobsters named Gamble rises from his seat and threatens the Joker, who opens his coat, exposing grenades. Gamble tells the Joker that he's putting a price out on his head. The Joker tells the mob that when they plan to take things a little more seriously, to give him a call, and presents them with a Joker playing card. While leaving, he warns them that Batman will bring back Lau. In the night, Harvey Dent and Gordon meet Batman, who offers to bring back Lau from Hong Kong. The next day, Fox shows Wayne his new suit, and Wayne begins planning a trip to Hong Kong. With Fox accompany him, making it look like the only reason for his visit was to cancel the negotiations with Lau's company. In the meantime, Gamble was playing pool with some of his associates until one of them informs him that a group of hoodlums have killed the Joker and brought his body. The body is brought and covered in a bag, and as Gamble is about to pay, the Joker rises up and holds a knife to his face, while his men hold guns to his associates' heads. The Joker tells a story about how he got his scars from his father and then kills Gamble. Meanwhile, Fox arrives in Hong Kong to meet with Lau. He checks in his mobile phone at the front desk at Lau's building, as there are no cell phones allowed on the premises. Fox meets with Lau and informs him of Wayne Enterprises' plans to cancel negotiations with his company. However, he secretly keeps one cell phone in his pocket, which has been adapted to produce a sonar map of the surrounding area. Upon leaving the building, he does not pick up the phone he dropped off, and he produces the map of the building to Bruce Wayne. That night, the phone that Fox left at the front desk emits a high frequency that shuts down all power in the building. Batman crashes in through a window in Lau's office, and after a vicious fight with some of his guards, he grabs Lau and escapes by sending a balloon attached to a cable to a plane he has chartered flying over Lau's building. Back in Gotham, Lau is interrogated by Rachel with Dent and Gordon looking on. During the negotiation, Lau gives them the names of the mobsters and their pooled investments. After that, Gordon arrests them all. Later on, Dent meets the mayor, who tells him to be careful because now all the criminals will target him, but Dent said he is ready for this. Suddenly, a dead body slams against the mayor's window. It belongs to the fake Batman with makeup on his face and a Joker card pinned to him reading, "Will the real Batman please stand up?" Then the Joker sends a video in which he promises that until Batman takes off his mask and shows everyone who he really is, innocent people will die every day. In the night, Harvey and Rachel went to the fundraiser organized at Wayne's penthouse. At this moment, Bruce said, "I believe in Harvey Dent." Minutes later, the angry Rachel meets with Bruce, telling him to stop making fun of Harvey, but Bruce tells her that he truly believes in him and that he could be the White Knight that will allow him to stop being Batman so they can be together. Then Dent joins them to thank Bruce. Meanwhile, Gordon discovers that there are 3 traces of DNA on the Joker card from Commissioner Loeb, Harvey Dent, and Judge Cirillo. Gordon takes this as a threat to their lives and begins preparations to protect them. While the judge was taken into protective custody, the police handed her an envelope containing a list of instructions. As soon as Cirillo gets in the car and opens the envelope, she finds only a single word, "up." Then the car blows up. Meanwhile, Gordon was trying to convince Loeb about the seriousness of the situation, but Loeb didn't give it any importance. He opened a bottle of whiskey and started drinking. Before Gordon can stop him from drinking, Commissioner Loeb dies of severe poisoning from his liquor bottle. At a fundraising party, Dent takes Rachel aside to ask her to marry him, but before she answers him, Bruce subdues Dent and locks him in a closet while Rachel watches in shock. Bruce tells Rachel that the Joker and his goons are here to kill Harvey. The Joker and his goons burst in, telling the guests that they are tonight's entertainment. The Joker scans the room seeking out Harvey Dent when Rachel steps forward. He grabs her and pulls a knife on her, telling her a different version of the story about how he got his scars. Rachel kicks him away and suddenly Batman shows up. A fight breaks out between Batman, the Joker, and his goons, with the Joker and the goons beating on Batman pretty well. When Batman gains the upper hand, he sees the Joker holding a gun at Rachel's head as he dangles her out of a shot-out window. Batman orders him to let her go, and the Joker replies, "Wrong choice," and lets her fall. Batman dives out the window and saves her using his cape, to slow their fall as they crash into the roof of a car on the street. The Joker apparently vanishes from the scene. The next day, Batman is seen on the edge of a rooftop listening into cell phone frequencies when he overhears a plot against Harvey Dent. Gordon rushes to the apartment with Ramirez and Batman to find two policemen murdered, with the last names Harvey and Dent. Ramirez begins to blame Batman, but Gordon cuts her off. As Batman removes a piece of concrete wall that contains a bullet used in the murders in hopes of finding evidence, Gordon notes that the Joker has left an advance copy of tomorrow's newspaper indicating the death of the mayor. Back to Wayne Enterprises, Fox meets with Wayne's accountant Coleman Reese, who claims that Wayne has some sort of government project with cell phones for the army underway. He also uncovers Fox's designs for the Batmobile. He tells Fox that he wants $10 million per year for the rest of his life to keep this a secret. Fox smiles and says, "Let me get this straight. You think that your client, one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in the world, is secretly a vigilante who spends his nights beating criminals to a pulp with his bare hands, and your plan is to blackmail this person? Good luck." Fox helps Wayne to reconstruct the bullet taken from the murder scene and produces a fingerprint. Fox asks him if he has reassigned the R&D department. Bruce acknowledges that he has. Bruce traces the bullet fingerprint's owner to an apartment overlooking the funeral speeches for Commissioner Loeb and takes off on the motorcycle. As the ceremony continues on the street below, Bruce inspects a room where he believes the Joker might be, and he finds several men tied up. They tell Bruce that their guns and uniforms were stolen. Bruce inspects binoculars pointed out of a blinded window. The window blind is connected to a timer. As the timer reaches 0, the blinds quickly raise, and the police snipers positioned around the area all shoot in that direction. At the same time, the Joker, who had removed his makeup and played himself off as a member of the honor guard for the ceremony, turns and takes a shot at the mayor, but Gordon dives in the way, getting shot in the back and falling. Everyone panics and runs, but the police shoot one member of the honor guard in the leg and haul him into a truck. Dent himself climbs in the truck and, upon inspecting the criminal, sees that the name tag on his uniform reads Officer Rachel Dawes. He calls Rachel and informs her that she's been targeted and to get to the safest place she can, which in her case is Bruce's penthouse. He tells her he loves her, but there is no answer from Rachel. Meanwhile, Batman enters a club and grabs Maroni after beating on his men. He interrogates Maroni on the Joker's whereabouts, but Maroni has no idea where the Joker is. Then he explains that the Joker has no friends and no one will give him up because, unlike Batman, he plays by no rules. Meanwhile, Dent interrogates the criminal they captured and suddenly gets mad and decides to flip his lucky silver dollar for his life. At this moment, Batman arrives and tells him that this criminal is a paranoid schizophrenic patient from Arkham Asylum and that he won't learn anything from him. He also tells Harvey that if anyone saw this unjust way of interrogating someone, all that good work you did for Gotham would be lost. He tells Harvey to hold a press conference the following day because he wants to use that opportunity to turn himself in. At the press conference, Dent announces that the Batman needs to be taken into custody. In the crowd, Bruce is about to step forth, but before he can do so, Dent publicly claims that he is Batman as part of a ruse to draw the Joker out of hiding. Rachel is upset with Bruce not interfering or admitting that Dent is not Batman and that he is. She leaves Alfred a note to give to Bruce when the time is right. Harvey is arrested, and on the way, the SWAT van transport is ambushed by a garbage truck and semi-trailer driven by the Joker and his thugs. At this moment, Batman arrives in the Batmobile, crashing the garbage truck and driving to the rescue. The Joker failingly attempts to kill Dent during transport with multiple firearms. Then, using an RPG, he fires at Dent's van, but his shot is intercepted by the Batmobile, causing it to crash with irreparable damage. Here, Batman takes on his secondary transportation, the Batpod, which bursts out the front of the self-destructing Batmobile. Batman successfully stops the Joker's truck with cables by flipping it upside down. As the Joker climbs out of the flipped semi, He stands in the middle of the road yelling, "Hit me," at the fast approaching Batpod, but Batman is forced to crash in order to avoid killing the Joker and lays wounded on the ground. Suddenly, Gordon, who faked his death and had actually been driving Dent's transportation van, sneaks up behind the Joker and arrests him. Dent is released and applauded by the press for his bravery before being driven home by Detective Wuertz. Gordon is promoted to the commissioner by Garcia for his efforts. With the Joker in custody, everything seems to be safe. Unfortunately, it is soon later revealed that Dent never made it home. Gordon asks the Joker what he did with Dent. The Joker hints that Wuertz was the one responsible for Dent's predicament. Desperate to save him, Gordon leaves the Joker in Batman's hands. Batman interrogates the Joker in a brutal fashion, and the Joker reveals that Rachel and Dent have been taken to opposite sides of the city, far enough apart that Batman does not have time to save both of them. The Joker admits his sadistic point: Batman will have to choose which one to save. Bruce speeds off to save Rachel, while Gordon and the police head after Dent. Unknown to them, the Joker has switched the locations, sending Batman after Dent and Gordon after Rachel. Meanwhile, Rachel and Dent are tied to chairs and surrounded by oil drums, are able to communicate through an intercom that displays a timer as to when their bombs will explode. The two reassure each other that everything will be okay. As Dent attempts to escape, he falls over and douses the left side of his face with gasoline. Rachel tells Dent that her answer to his proposal is yes. Batman arrives at the location and rescues Dent. Then both buildings explode, and the fire burns the left side of Dent's face during the explosion, due to the oil he fell into earlier, severely disfiguring it. Gordon does not reach Rachel in time, and she dies in the explosion. Back at the MCU, the Joker provokes a detective into attacking him and uses him as a human shield as he walks out of his interrogation room. Then, with the help of a cell phone bomb implanted in one of his thugs, he escapes with Lau in tow. Gordon is distraught when he heard that the Joker had wanted to be captured. Alfred reads the letter Rachel left, which says that she was going to marry Harvey and couldn't wait anymore for Bruce. He was going to give it to Bruce, but seeing him in grief, he decides not to. Bruce feels guilty for the death of Rachel and for what has happened to Dent, stating he is Gotham's true hero. Bruce also states he knew Rachel would have waited for him to stop being Batman, and they would have been together. In Gotham General Hospital, Dent is driven to madness over the loss of Rachel, which he blames on Batman, Gordon, and the Joker. Gordon is curious as to why Dent, despite the massive injuries, refuses to have skin grafts or medication. When Gordon asks if he knows who took him captive, Dent replies by asking, "Why would you listen to me now?" He then demands Gordon to say the nickname the cops gave him. Gordon reveals it to be Harvey the Two-Face. Turning his head to face the now horrified Gordon. Maroni realizes his mistake and tips Gordon off on the Joker's meeting with the Chechen at the Gotham docks, and the police get ready to arrest them. At this moment, Coleman Reese, Wayne Enterprises' lawyer, finds out that Bruce is Batman and plans to reveal it on television. The Joker burns Lau on top of his share of the mob money and double-crosses and kills the Chechen, vowing that the city deserves a better class of criminal, and I'm going to give it to them. He then publicly states that he no longer cares about killing Batman because he is too much fun, and that if Reese is not killed to prevent Batman's secret from slipping, then he will blow up a hospital. Gordon is forced to turn his back on the Joker temporarily to focus on protecting Reese and evacuating all the hospitals. All hospitals begin immediate evacuation, and Gordon, with Bruce's help, manages to save Reese from getting killed by angry civilians. At Gotham General Hospital, the Joker arrives disguised as a nurse to corrupt Dent, who is now unable to move due to bed restraints. The Joker convinces him that the real responsible for Rachel's death are Batman and Gordon. Then Dent decides the Joker's fate with his half-scarred double-head coin. Dent leaves taking the name of Two-Face, and the Joker blows up the hospital while kidnapping a bus of the hospital. The Two-Face confronts the corrupt cop Wuertz and flips his coin to decide his fate, then he killed him after revealing that Ramirez is involved too. After that, he confronts Maroni, who was lucky in the coin flip, but his driver was not, and they both had an accident. The Joker declares on television that he will rule the streets and that anyone left in Gotham at nightfall will be subject to his rule. Eventually, the city attempts to leave, but all roadways and bridges have been cut off due to the Joker's warning that they have been wired to explode. However, 2 ferries remain and each one becomes full. One carries prisoners and the other carries regular citizens. At Wayne Enterprises, Lucius discovers that Batman has expanded on the sonar technology and developed an advanced surveillance system that can listen in and track the movement of anyone from the thousands of cell phones in the city. Lucius agrees to help by monitoring the sonar, but says he will resign if the machine is not destroyed. The Joker reveals that he has planted explosives on the 2 ferries of evacuees and gives the passengers on board the chance to destroy the opposing vessel in order to save their own lives, but warns them that, unless a decision is made, he will blow up both ferries at midnight. With his sonar vision, Batman tracks the Joker to the construction site of the Prewitt building. On the other side, the Two-Face forces Ramirez into getting Gordon's family out of their home and leading them to him. After sparing her life and merely knocking her out, he then phones and tells Gordon of the situation. When Gordon demands to know where his family is, the Two-Face replies, "Where my family died." At the Joker's hideout, Gordon's SWAT team move in to take out the Joker's henchmen and save the hostages, but find out that the Joker has ironically disguised his henchmen as the hostages and the hostages as the henchmen, who are gagged with duct tape and have clown masks shoved over their faces and guns taped to their bound hands, causing great confusion. Thankfully, Batman is able to clear the air, and he not only takes down the real criminals, but also the SWAT team as well. Once the team realizes what is actually going on, they are able to arrest the real criminals and save the hostages. The Joker and Batman have one final confrontation. The Joker sends Rottweiler dogs at Batman, who manages to get rid of them. However, Batman is repeatedly hit by the Joker, who uses a steel pipe. The Joker manages to subdue Batman under a column and forces him to watch as midnight approaches, but nothing happens as neither the citizens nor the convicts are willing to kill the other. The Joker is unfazed by this remark and pulls out a detonator, preparing to blow up both ships. However, he is caught off guard when Batman projects the steel spikes from his gauntlet at the Joker, causing him to release his grip on Batman and the detonator. Batman then throws him off the building, but refuses to kill him and grab him with his grapple gun and leaving him hanging upside down. With this act, the Joker acknowledges that Batman really is incorruptible, but that Dent is no longer the White Knight. He's unleashed the Scarred Man on the city. Batman leaves to find the Two-Face, while the SWAT team moves in and arrests the Joker. At the place where Rachel died, the Two-Face beats down Gordon and is angry to see cops outside the building closing in on him. Gordon tells him that they only know there is a situation and know nothing about what is happening. Dent then decides to kill Gordon's son and stands at the edge of the building. Batman finds him along with Gordon's family at the building where Rachel died. He tells the Two-Face to point the gun at the people truly responsible for Rachel's death. The Two-Face flips the coin for Batman and shoots him in the stomach. He flips the coin again to decide his own fate, but before he can determine the boy's fate, Batman tackles him over the side of the building, saving Gordon's son. As the Two-Face lies dead from a broken neck, Batman and Gordon decide that the Joker would win if anyone found out about Dent's corruption and madness, because people would lose hope. Batman convinces Gordon to tell Gotham that he, not Dent, committed the murders in order to preserve Dent's image as Gotham's White Knight and to give the city hope. Gordon is reluctant to do so, but Batman explains he's whatever Gotham needs him to be. Later on, Gordon destroys the bat signal in front of the police and the press. A manhunt is issued for Batman, and Alfred burns the note Rachel left, knowing that Bruce will be heartbroken if he reads it, while Lucius destroys the sonar vision using a self-destruct code as told by Batman, and Gotham has a funeral for the White Knight. Batman takes off into the night, but Gordon's son does not understand the reasoning for why Batman must be hunted. Then Gordon explains, because he can take it. Because he's not a hero. He's a silent guardian, a watchful protector, a dark knight. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, put a like and share it. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more. Have a great day.